Welcome to Daily Stoic Habits, where we unpack timeless wisdom to live stronger, calmer, and wiser. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Now, picture this in a world screaming for attention, where every post, like, and comment begs for your reaction. What if the real power lies in staying silent? What if the calmest person in the room is the one truly in charge? Today, we're diving into the art of nonchalance, the ultimate sign of unshakable confidence. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, this isn't just a mindset, it's a way to own your inner strength, control any situation, and leave others wondering how'd you do it. Let's break down the first lesson: why staying cool, calm, and collected is the secret weapon of the truly confident. In a world where everyone's shouting to be noticed, think social media feeds overflowing with flexes, rants, and oversharing theirs. Something magnetic about the person who doesn't jump into the fray. They don't need to yell, post every thought, or clap back at every slide. Why? Because they've mastered something deeper, the art of nonchalance. Now, don't get it twisted, this isn't about being cold or checked out. It's not apathy, where you've shut off your emotions and stopped caring. Nonchalance is a deliberate choice, a psychological flex. It's feeling the heat of the moment, anger, excitement, fear, and choosing not to let it spill out. Imagine a poker player with a stone-cold face, holding a winning hand while everyone else is sweating. That's the vibe. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic OG, nailed it when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The nonchalant person lives this truth. They know that emotions are like a loaded gun, powerful, but only effective when you decide to pull the trigger. They feel everything: ambition, pain, joy, but they don't broadcast it. Instead, they hold back, creating a kind of mystery that makes others lean in. Ever notice how a quiet person in a meeting draws every eye? That's not an accident. Their silence isn't empty, it's heavy with intention. It makes people wonder, what's going on in their head? What do they know that I don't? That curiosity, its influence in action. Here's the kicker: nonchalance isn't about disconnecting from the world. It's the opposite. The nonchalant person is dialed in. They see, they feel, they care, but they've trained themselves to stay steady, while others are caught up in the chaos, reacting to every ping or provocation. They're like a lighthouse in a storm, unmoved. This is Stoicism at its core, reason over impulse. They don't waste energy on what doesn't matter. A snarky comment, they let it slide. A trending drama, they scroll past. They save their words, their moves, for when it counts, and when they do speak or act, it hits different, sharp, clear, undeniable. Compare that to the oversharers, the ones chasing clout, with every post, flaunting their wins or whining about their losses. Sure, they get likes, but they're also predictable, easy to read. The nonchalant person, they're a puzzle. They don't perform for validation. They don't panic over what's coming tomorrow. They live in the now with a clarity that's almost unsettling. That's what makes them powerful. No one can manipulate someone they can't figure out. So, next time you're tempted to react on impulse, ask yourself, what would a Stoic do? Would they fire off a hot take or hold their cards close? Stick with us at Daily Stoic Habits as we unpack more lessons to master your mind and own your confidence. Subscribe, and let's keep building that Stoic edge together. In a world where everyone's scrambling to be seen, reading their every thought, posting their every move, there's a rare kind of strength in the person who stays calm, unruffled, almost untouchable. This is nonchalance, and it's not what you might think. It's not about being aloof or shutting down your emotions. It's not coldness or a lack of care. Nonchalance is a choice, a deliberate act of self-mastery that sets the truly confident apart. Picture a crowded room, voices clashing, egos flaring. Amid the chaos, one person stands steady, their silence louder than the noise. That's the power we're unpacking today, the art of staying composed, and why it's the ultimate flex of inner strength. At first glance, nonchalance might look like indifference. You might see someone who doesn't react, doesn't jump into the fray, and think they're detached, maybe even heartless. But look closer. The nonchalant person isn't numb. They feel everything. They have dreams, fears, passions, just like the rest of us. The difference? They don't let those feelings spill out unchecked. They've trained themselves to pause, to filter, to decide what deserves a response. It's like a master chef tasting a dish before serving it. Every move is intentional. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, put it perfectly: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the heart of nonchalance, controlling what you can, your own reactions, and letting the rest slide. Contrast that with apathy. An apathetic person has checked out. They've stopped caring, stopped feeling, stopped believing in the fight. They're adrift, disconnected from their own emotions. The nonchalant person is the opposite. They're fully engaged, but they don't wear it on their sleeve. They still chase goals, still feel the sting of loss or the thrill of victory, but they don't broadcast it for the world to see. Why? Because they know emotions are powerful. Like a blade you only draw when the moment's right. Flashing that blade to soothe in a heated argument or social media spat gives others the upper hand. They can read you, predict you, even manipulate you. But when you hold back, you create a kind of mystery, a space that others can't help but try to fill. That space is where the magic happens. When you don't rush to speak, to defend, to explain, you force others to wonder, what's this person thinking? What's their next move? That curiosity isn't just attention, it's influence. A nonchalant person walks into a conversation and doesn't need to dominate it. They listen, they observe, and when they finally speak, their words land like a well-aimed arrow. It's not about saying less for the sake of it. It's about saying what matters, when it matters. Ever notice how a single, quiet comment in a heated debate can shift the whole room? That's nonchalance in action, strategic, clear, and impossible to ignore. Stoicism teaches us that this kind of composure comes from reason reigning over impulse. The nonchalant person doesn't ignore their emotions. They harness them. They feel the anger, the excitement, the hurt, but they don't let those feelings call the shots. Instead, they choose their response with clarity, living fully in the present without being rattled by what's next. In a world obsessed with oversharing where people flaunt their wins, their meals, their follower counts, the nonchalant stand out by what they don't reveal. They're not performing for likes or validation. They're playing a deeper game, one where self-control is the ultimate power. So, next time you're tempted to react on instinct, to fire off that text or clap back online, pause. Ask yourself, what would a Stoic do? Would they let the moment control them? Or would they hold their ground, calm and unshaken? In a world hooked on emotional outbursts where every argument, every post, every reality TV meltdown is a race to show how you feel, there's a quiet power in the person who keeps their cards close. Controlling your expressions isn't just about looking cool. It's a game changer in how you move through life. It's the art of hiding emotions, not because you don't have them, but because you know their true value. When you master this, you're not just in the conversation, you're steering it, unshaken, while others scramble to keep up. This is the Stoic edge, where emotions are private assets, and revealing them is a choice, not a reflex. Think about a high-stakes moment, a heated meeting, a tense negotiation, or even a personal argument. Most people wear their hearts on their sleeves, a furrowed brow, a raised voice, a nervous fidget. Those are tells, little signals that give away what's brewing inside. But the person who stays steady, their mystery, their face doesn't flinch, their voice doesn't crack. That calm isn't coldness, it's control. It forces others to guess, to second guess, to reveal their own hand while you hold yours tight. Stoic philosophy nails this. Emotions aren't weaknesses, but they're yours to manage. Show them too soon, and you're handing over the keys to your inner world. Take Roger Federer, a legend not just for his tennis, but for his poise. Picture the 2019 Wimbledon final over for grueling hours, a match that came down to a single point. Federer lost the championship, a crushing blow. Did he smash his racket, yell at the umpire, break down in tears? Nope. He walked to the net, shook hands with his opponent, flashed a faint smile, and left the court with the same grace he brought to it. The crowd didn't see a defeated man. They saw a champion. That moment wasn't about hiding pain, it was about owning it privately. Federer's composure didn't diminish his greatness. It amplified it, proving that real strength doesn't need a spotlight. Stoicism teaches us why this matters. Epictetus, a former slave-turned-philosopher, said, "If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity." The Stoics didn't say to bury your emotions just to delay their display. Why? Because emotions, unchecked, can be weaponized against you. A rival spots your frustration and pushes harder. A friend sees your excitement, manipulates it. When you keep your feelings close, you're not pretending, you're protecting your power. It's like a fortress. The fewer openings you show, the harder it is for anyone to get in. This isn't about being a robot. The composed person feels deeply joy, anger, heartbreak, but they choose when and how to let it show. They're not performing for validation or reacting to provoke. They're strategic, letting others fill the silence, reveal their motives, or trip over their own impulsiveness. Ever watch someone unravel because they couldn't read you? That's the art at work. Your steady gaze, your even tone there. Not just tools, they're weapons in a world that thrives on chaos. Federer's example shows us something else. Controlling your emotions doesn't just shape how others see you. It shapes how you see yourself. When you don't lash out or crumble, you're proving to yourself that you're bigger than the moment. That's Stoic wisdom in action. Your emotions are yours, not the world's. They're private, precious, and only shared when they serve your purpose. So, next time you feel the urge to react, to snap, to gloat, to defend, pause, ask yourself, what's the play here? Would a Stoic bear it all? Or hold back and let the moment pass? Master this art, and you're not just hiding emotions, you're commanding the room. One calm breath at a time. In a world that thrives on instant reactions, think fiery clapbacks, viral rants, or knee-jerk comments. The person who chooses not to react holds a kind of power most can't touch. Non-reaction isn't about sitting back or giving up. It's a calculated strategy, a way to stay in the driver's seat when everyone else is losing control. It's the quiet strength that shifts the game, making you unpredictable, unshakable, and downright formidable. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, non-reaction is the mark of someone who's mastered themselves first, turning every challenge into a chance to lead, not follow. Picture a tense moment, a negotiation where the stakes are sky high, or a family argument where emotions are raw. Most people jump in defending, arguing, showing their hand. But the person who stays calm, who doesn't flinch or fire back, they're the one running the show. Non-reaction doesn't mean doing nothing. It means every move you make comes from a place of clarity, not impulse. It's like Eastern martial arts, where a master doesn't block a punch head on. They step aside, let the attacker's force carry them off balance, then redirect that energy with a single, precise strike. That's the art of non-reaction, yielding to gain the upper hand. Take a business deal, for example. You're at the table, and the other side is pushing hard, throwing out ultimatums. If you lean in, eager to close, they smell desperation and jack up the price. But if you pause, sip your coffee, maybe check an email mid-conversation, you send a signal. I'm not sweating this. That calm flips the dynamic. They start second-guessing, over-explaining, revealing their weaknesses. Your non-reaction isn't passive, it's a power play, forcing them to show their cards while you keep yours hidden. Ever wonder why the coolest head in the room always seems to win? It's because they're not reacting, they're directing. Stoicism backs this up with crystal clear wisdom. Epictetus, the philosopher who rose from slavery, said, if you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. Non-reaction is integrity in action. It's refusing to let the world or your emotions pull your strings. When you don't react, you're not just dodging drama, you're controlling the emotional space. Think about a poker game. The best players don't twitch or sweat. Their face is a blank slate, giving nothing away. Opponents try to read them, but there's no tell, no crack to exploit. That stillness isn't weakness, it's what makes them dangerous. This goes beyond strategy. It's personal. Picture a kid facing a parent's harsh criticism. If they snap back, the fight escalates, tempers flare. But if they nod, stay silent, and listen, the air shifts. The parent stumbles, questions their own words, softens their tone. That silence isn't surrender, it's a mirror, reflecting the other person's emotions back at them. It's powerful because it's deliberate, a choice to stay grounded. When the world expects you to crack, Stoics see emotions as data, not orders. Feeling angry doesn't mean you yell. Feeling hurt doesn't mean you lash out. Non-reaction creates a gap between what you feel and what you do, and in that gap lies your strength. Non-reaction isn't just about winning arguments or deals, it's about winning yourself. Every time you hold back, you're training your mind to stay steady, to see beyond the moment. In a culture wired for instant gratification, where every ping demands a response, choosing not to react is radical. It's saying, I'm not at the mercy of this moment. So, next time you're baited by a troll, a critic, or a crisis, pause, ask yourself, What's the smarter play? Would a Stoic jump in? Or step back and let the chaos reveal itself? Master non-reaction, and you're not just staying calm, you're claiming control. One deliberate choice at a time. In a world buzzing with noise, endless chatter, heated debates, and social media storms, silence is a rare and potent force. It's not just the absence of words, it's a psychological weapon, sharp and invisible, that can shift any situation in your favor. When you choose silence, you're not retreating, you're taking control, forcing others to reveal their hand while you stay unreadable through the Stoic lens. Silence is power, creating uncertainty that disarms and directs. It's the art of saying nothing to gain everything, and it's a skill that makes you untouchable. Think about a tense moment, a high-stakes meeting, a charged argument, or even a casual conversation where someone's fishing for a reaction. Most people can't help but feel the air, glancing away, sighing, or jumping in with a quick retort. Those tiny signals are cracks, openings for others to peek into your mind. But the person who stays silent, their fortress, no frown, no nod, no hint of what's brewing inside, that stillness unnerves people. It makes them wonder, doubt, even overthink. Why aren't they reacting? What do they know? In that uncertainty, they start talking, explaining, exposing their own motives while you hold all the cards. Stoicism teaches us why this works. When you react, whether it's anger, amusement, or even a smile, you're giving away pieces of yourself. Every emotion you show is a lever someone else can pull. But silence, it's a shield. It keeps your inner world locked tight, letting you steer the moment without lifting a finger. Consider Julius Caesar standing before the Rubicon River, facing a choice that could spark civil war. Rome had banned him from marching forward, an act of treason if he crossed. Did he pace, shout, or rally his troops with a fiery speech? No. He sat in silence, staring at the water, his face a mask. His men, his enemies, even history itself held its breath. No one could guess his next move. Then, with chilling calm, he stood and said, "The die is cast." That single line, born from hours of silence, shook an empire. His restraint wasn't weakness, it was a calculated strike that caught the world off guard. That's the psychology of silence. It flips the script. When you don't react, others feel compelled to fill the void. In a negotiation, a silent pause after an offer can make the other side squirm, throwing out concessions just to break the tension. In an argument, a quiet stare can unravel someone's confidence, making them question their own words. Silence isn't empty, it's a mirror, reflecting others' insecurities back at them. It's why a cold, steady gaze can feel more piercing than a shout. By giving nothing away, you force others to reveal everything, handing you the reins of the conversation, the deal, or even the conflict. This isn't about manipulation, it's about mastery. Stoics understood that true strength lies in what you withhold. When you master silence, you're not just dodging drama, you're shaping outcomes. You become the calm center in a storm, the one others look to because you seem to know something they don't. And often, you do because silence lets you observe, listen, and think while others are busy reacting. In a culture addicted to noise, where everyone's shouting to be heard, silence is your edge. It's what makes you unpredictable, influential, and impossible to rattle. So, next time you're in a moment that begs for a reaction, a jab, a challenge, a provocation, try this. Stay silent. Let the other person talk, fidget, or falter. Watch how their need to fill the quiet gives you the upper hand. Ask yourself, what would a Stoic do? Would they spill their thoughts or wield silence like a blade? Practice this, and you'll find that saying nothing can speak louder than words, turning every pause into a moment of pure, unshakable control. In a world drowning in words, endless posts, podcasts, and presentations all vying for attention, the person who speaks sparingly stands out like a beacon. It's not about having less to say, it's about knowing when to say it. Words, when used with precision, carry weight that cuts through the noise. This is the Stoic art of rare speech, where timing is everything, and a single, well-placed sentence can shift the room. When you master this, you don't just communicate, you command, leaving a mark that lingers long after you're gone. Picture a global strategy conference, a room packed with big egos and bigger speeches. Leaders take turns unloading data, promises, and buzzwords, each trying to outshine the last. But one CEO sits quietly, not interrupting, not even nodding along. For 40 minutes, he's a ghost until the mic finally reaches him. The room braces for a long pitch. Instead, he leans in and says, I didn't come here to predict the future. I came to build it. Silence. Not a cough. Not a shuffle. Every eye locks on him, not because he said much, but because he said it when it mattered. That's the power of rare words. They don't compete with the noise they end it. Stoic philosopher Seneca nailed this when he wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." He wasn't just talking about time, he meant our presence, our words. The truly confident don't scatter their speech like confetti, hoping to be noticed. They save their energy for the moment that counts, knowing that words lose value when overused. Think about it. A friend who always rambles fades into the background, but the one who speaks only when it's deep, you hang on their every word. Rarity breeds impact. This isn't about being shy or aloof. It's strategy. The person who speaks less creates a kind of gravity, drawing others in. They let the room talk itself out, revealing egos, agendas, weaknesses while they wait for the perfect opening. When they finally speak, it's not noise. It's a signal, clear and sharp. Ever notice how a quiet leader's one-liner can redirect a chaotic meeting? That's because they've mastered the art of restraint, turning words into tools, not toys. Rare speech also builds trust. When you're not constantly filling the air, people know you mean what you say. Your words become a currency others value, not a cheap handout. In a culture obsessed with being heard where everyone's shouting their truth, the person who holds back becomes unforgettable. They don't need to dominate every chat or post every thought. Their presence is felt in their absence. Their impact measured not by how often they speak, but by how deeply their words land. Seneca's wisdom reminds us to treat our words like our time. Spend them wisely. The Stoics saw speech as an extension of character. Careless talk betrays a careless mind. So, next time you're itching to jump into a debate or fill a silence, pause. Ask yourself, is this the moment? Are these the words that will hit the mark? A Stoic would wait, choosing precision over impulse. Practice this. You'll find that saying less doesn't make you smaller, it makes you towering. Your every word a spark that lights up the room. In a world obsessed with speed, instant replies, overnight success, and the race to be first, there's a quiet strength in moving with purpose, not haste. Acting fast often feels powerful, but it's the person who acts deliberately at the right moment who truly shapes the outcome. Stoic philosophy draws a sharp line between rushed reactions and planned actions, showing us that timing trumps speed every time. When you master deliberate action, you're not just keeping up, you're setting the pace, turning every choice into a calculated step toward something greater. Rushed action is the default for most. Think about it, a snappy comeback in an argument, a quick post to catch the latest trend, or a snap decision to chase a shiny opportunity. It's driven by fear of missing out, of looking weak, of falling behind. But haste betrays weakness. It's sloppy, unprepared, and often ego-driven. You fire off a text you regret, or jump into a deal that flops. Rush moves scream, "I'm desperate to prove something." Now contrast that with deliberate action. It's calm, focused, rooted in clarity. It's not about being slow, it's about being right. A deliberate person doesn't follow the crowd's tempo. They set their own rhythm, acting only when the moment aligns with their purpose. Take Christopher Nolan, the filmmaker behind Inception. That mind-bending movie about dreams within dreams was a rush to the screen. Nolan spent over a decade nurturing the idea. Even after The Dark Knight made him a household name, he could have cashed in on his fame, turned out a quick blockbuster. Instead, he waited. He waited for visual effects tech to catch up to his vision, for audiences to be ready for a complex story, for every piece to fall into place. When Inception hit theaters in 2010, it wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural earthquake, redefining what a blockbuster could be. Nolan didn't chase the clock, he crafted the moment. That's deliberate action, patient, precise, and impossible to ignore. Stoicism hammers this home. The Stoics taught that the world's urgency shouldn't hijack your inner calm. Acting fast to impress or keep up often leads to mistakes, while acting at the right time after observing, planning, weighing options leads to results. It's like a chess master who doesn't rush their move, even with the clock ticking. They study the board, see the patterns, and strike when it counts. That pause isn't hesitation, it's power. Ever notice how the most confident people seem to move at their own pace? They're not rattled by deadlines or FOMO. They know not every moment demands action, but the right moment demands everything. Deliberate action isn't just strategic, it's liberating. When you stop reacting to every ping or pressure, you reclaim control. You're not a puppet dancing to the world's strings, you're the one pulling them. This takes discipline, a willingness to step back and ask, is this worth my energy? Is now the time? In a culture that glorifies hustle, choosing when to act is a rebellion. It's saying, I don't need to prove myself by jumping first. Instead, you prove yourself by landing exactly where you aimed. So, next time you feel the urge to act fast, to respond, to grab, to prove, hit pause. Think of Nolan, waiting a decade to birth a masterpiece. Ask yourself, am I rushing to keep up or acting to make a difference? A Stoic would choose the latter, knowing that true power lies in timing, not speed. Master deliberate action. And you're not just moving through life, you're shaping in a world that never shuts up, where notifications ping, opinions clash, and everyone's racing to have the last word. Silence is a superpower. It's not an empty void or a sign you've got nothing to say. Silence is control, a deliberate choice that commands attention and shapes outcomes through the Stoic lens. Silence is a tool of self-mastery, letting you steer the moment without saying a word. When you wield it right, silence doesn't just speak, it roars, leaving a mark that words alone can't touch. Think of a heated debate or a high-pressure meeting. People are talking over each other, throwing out arguments, trying to dominate. Then, one person stays quiet. No interruptions, no quick comebacks, just a steady, unshaken presence. The room feels it. Eyes shift their way, wondering what's behind that calm. That's not passivity, it's power. Silence, used intentionally, creates a vacuum others rush to fill, revealing their thoughts, fears, or flaws while you stay in the driver's seat. It's like a perfectly timed pause in a conversation that makes the other person spill more than they meant to. That's the strength of silence. It's a force, not a gap. Consider Gustav Mahler, the legendary composer and conductor. During rehearsals, he didn't shout or micromanage his orchestra. Instead, he'd stand there, silent, maybe raising an eyebrow or offering a subtle gesture. Those moments of quiet weren't empty, they were electric. His musicians adjusted instantly, not because he barked orders, but because his silence demanded focus. Mahler knew something profound. Silence is music, too. The spaces between notes, the pauses he wove into his symphonies, carried as much emotion as the loudest crescendos. Listeners didn't just hear his work, they felt the weight of what he left unsaid. That's the magic of silence, it amplifies everything around it. Stoicism backs this up with timeless clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Silence embodies this. When you let go of the need to be heard, to counter every point, to fill every gap, you reclaim your power. You're not reacting to the world's noise, you're shaping it. A silent person isn't weak. They're untouchable. They don't need to raise their voice to be the center of gravity. Ever notice how a quiet leader's presence shifts a room? It's because their restraint says, I'm in control, and I don't need to prove it. Their words, when they come, hit harder because they're rare. This isn't about personality, it's about discipline. Silence isn't a gift you're born with. It's a skill you hone. Every time you resist the urge to snap back, to fill an awkward pause, or to overshare, you're training yourself to stay steady. It's like a martial artist conserving energy, waiting for the perfect strike. In a culture addicted to noise where everyone's broadcasting their every thought, silence is your edge. It makes you unpredictable, magnetic, unforgettable. When you don't feel the need to speak, you're free from the trap of seeking validation. Your presence alone becomes enough. So, next time you're tempted to jump in to argue, explain, or just break the quiet hold back, think of Mahler, turning silence into a symphony. Ask yourself, is this worth my words, or will my silence say more? A Stoic would choose the latter, knowing that true control lies in what you withhold. Master silence, and you're not just staying calm, you're commanding the moment, making every pause a statement of unshakable strength. In a noisy world, the one who stays quiet isn't lost in the crowd, they're the one everyone remembers. Nobody's born with an iron grip on their emotions. Calmness isn't a gift. It's a skill forged through relentless practice. In a world that pushes us to react, snap at insults, chase instant wins, or crumble under pressure, the ability to stay composed is what sets the truly confident apart. Stoic philosophy teaches us that self-control isn't about suppressing what you feel. It's about creating a gap between emotion and action, and in that gap lies your power. When you train yourself to pause, to choose your response, you're not just managing the moment, you're mastering yourself. Picture the chaos of everyday life, a cutting remark from a coworker, a stressful deadline, or a personal slight that stings, most people fire back on instinct. Anger spills, words fly, regrets pile up. That's human nature, raw and unfiltered. But the person who stays steady, they've built something different. They feel the same rush of anger, the same pang of hurt, but they don't let it take the wheel. Instead, they breathe, assess, and decide what's worth their energy. That's not magic, it's discipline, the kind you earn through daily work. Like a warrior sharpening their blade. Take a corporate leader who commands respect in high-stakes boardrooms. Every morning, he carves out 10 minutes for silence, sitting with his thoughts. Work stress, yesterday's frustrations, today's challenges. He watches them drift by, not fighting or feeding them, just letting them pass. When he steps into a meeting, he's a rock, calm, unreadable, unshaken. Colleagues try to rattle him, competitors probe for weaknesses, but he's already faced the chaos within. His silence isn't arrogance, it's armor, forged through years of practicing restraint. That daily ritual doesn't erase his emotions. It gives him the strength to channel them wisely. Stoicism nails this truth. The space between what you feel and what you do is where your power lives. Emotions are data, not commands. Feeling furious doesn't mean you yell. Feeling scared doesn't mean you freeze. The Stoics saw self-control as a muscle. Every time you resist a knee-jerk reaction, you make it stronger. It's why a young artist, courted by major labels, didn't jump at the first offer despite the hype. He stayed quiet, read every contract, clause, weighed every risk. When he finally signed, it wasn't a reaction, it was a move. Deliberate and unshakable. That kind of poise isn't born, it's built. One choice at a time. This training isn't easy. It means facing your triggers: anger, insecurity, impatience, and choosing to pause when every fiber screams to act. It's sitting with discomfort, letting the urge to lash out or defend yourself burn out. Each time you do, you're polishing your inner strength, crafting a version of yourself that's harder to shake. Ever notice how some people seem to glide through chaos? They're not immune to it, they've just trained to rise above it. That's the Stoic way. Self-control isn't about being emotionless. It's about being the master of what you feel. Building this takes time, but it's practical. Start small. Next time you're provoked, count to 5 before responding. Notice what you feel, but don't let it steer you. Over time, that pause becomes your superpower, letting you respond with clarity instead of regret. Ask yourself, what would a Stoic do? Would they let a fleeting emotion call the shots, or carve out space to choose wisely? The answer's clear. Self-control isn't a trait you're born with, it's a habit you build, day by day. Master it, and you're not just staying calm, you're becoming unstoppable. Turning every challenge into a chance to prove who's really in charge. You. Staying calm in a storm is tough, but keeping your cool when the world misreads you, that's the ultimate test of inner strength. In a culture that prizes loud self-expression, where every opinion demands a megaphone, choosing silence or restraint often gets mistaken for weakness or apathy. Yet, through the Stoic lens, enduring misunderstanding without buckling is the pinnacle of power. It's not about dodging judgment, it's about standing firm in your truth, even when others can't see it. When you master this, you're not just composed, you're untouchable, rooted in a confidence that doesn't need applause. Imagine a strategy seminar buzzing with ambitious voices. Everyone's pitching ideas, challenging speakers, flexing their expertise. Luke, a marketing expert, sits quietly through it all. No comments, no debates, not even a nod. His colleagues whisper, he's checked out, lacks drive, maybe out of his depth. They peg him as passive, a nobody in a room of sharks. But when it's time to present, Luke steps up. His project, built on silent observation and razor-sharp analysis, leaves the room stunned. Jaws drop, egos deflate. Luke didn't need to win every small skirmish, he waited for the moment that mattered, proving his strength not with noise, but with impact. Stoicism teaches us why this matters. Epictetus, the philosopher who rose from slavery, said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. It's a gut punch of wisdom. True growth means accepting that others might misjudge you and not letting it shake your core. When you stay calm amid misunderstanding, you're not ignoring the world, you're choosing not to let it define you. That's raw power. Most people crave instant validation, rushing to explain or defend themselves. But the Stoic, they're okay being misread, knowing their worth doesn't hinge on others' approval. This isn't easy. Being overlooked or underestimated stings. You feel the itch to speak up, to set the record straight, to prove you're not what they think. Doubt creeps in. Am I wrong to stay quiet? Should I just say something? But the composed person pushes through. They act not to be seen, but because it's right. Luke could have jumped into the seminar's fray, flashing his smarts to avoid looking weak. Instead, he trusted his process. Letting his work speak when the time came. That's the challenge. Holding your ground when the world's shouting for you to react. This kind of strength is invisible, but relentless. It's the quiet resolve to stay true to yourself, even when others project their assumptions onto you. In a world that equates silence with indifference, choosing restraint makes you a target for judgment. But that's the test. Can you stay steady when people think you don't care? Can you keep your focus when they label you aloof? The Stoic says yes, because real power isn't about being understood, it's about not betraying your principles. Mastering this transforms how you move through life. You stop needing to correct every misconception or win every argument. You become free, unshackled from the need for external validation. Epictetus's words remind us, progress lies in embracing the discomfort of being misjudged. So, next time you're tempted to react, to explain, to defend, to prove your point, pause. Think of Luke, letting his silence build a masterpiece. Ask yourself, does this moment need my voice? Or will my calm speak louder? A Stoic would choose the latter, knowing that enduring misunderstanding isn't a loss, it's a victory of self-mastery. Practice this, and you're not just staying calm, you're claiming a strength that no critic can touch, proving that the greatest power lies in staying true to yourself, no matter who gets it wrong. We've journeyed through 10 powerful lessons, each revealing how nonchalance, a calm, deliberate way of living, unlocks unshakable confidence through Stoic wisdom. This isn't a quick trick or a life hack. It's a lifestyle, a commitment to mastering yourself in a world that begs you to react. First, we saw nonchalance as self-control, not indifference, choosing when to let emotions show. Then, hiding emotions became a shield, keeping your inner world safe, like Roger Federer's grace in defeat. Non-reaction, inspired by martial arts, turned restraint into strategy, shifting power in negotiations. Silence emerged as a psychological weapon, as Julius Caesar's pause before the Rubicon proved, forcing others to reveal themselves. Rare words, like a CEO's single sentence at a conference, showed that timing amplifies impact. Deliberate action, exemplified by Christopher Nolan's patient crafting of Inception, proved timing beats speed. Silence, through Gustav Mahler's musical pauses, became a force of control, not emptiness. Self-control, honed by a leader's morning meditation, showed discipline creates strength. Facing misunderstanding, like Luke's quiet triumph at a seminar, marked the peak of resilience. Finally, silence as a choice, not a voice, cemented the Stoic truth. True power lies in what you withhold. These lessons aren't just ideas, they're tools. Stoicism isn't about sitting cross-legged on a mountaintop. It's about thriving in the chaos of daily life. Every time you pause before snapping back, choose silence over drama, or act with purpose instead of haste, you're living these principles. You're building a life where you're not at the mercy of the world's noise, but in command of your own mind. So, take this challenge. Pick one lesson, maybe it's staying silent in a heated moment or waiting for the right time to act, and try it today. Notice how it feels to hold that power, to steer the moment instead of being swept away. What could your life look like if you made this a habit? Here's a question for you. How do you rate the power of nonchalance? Is it essential in today's world, or just a nice to have? Drop a comment with a number. 1 for strongly disagree, 2 for disagree, 3 for neutral, 4 for agree, or 5 for strongly agree. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear how you're navigating this noisy world. Due to time constraints, we'll wrap up here. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it's offered even a small spark of insight, I'm truly fulfilled. Save this video to your playlist to revisit anytime you need a reminder. Please like and share it with others. Sometimes a timely message can change a life. And don't forget to subscribe to Daily Stoic Habits and hit the bell so you never miss our next value-packed video. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you soon.